It's the last day of the month. It's the last day of Black History Month. We are kind of tying in together the last day, really, of my theme for the month, which has been your inner critic, addressing your inner critic. Ooh, goodness gracious. Addressing your inner critic. And today, I really want to talk about like what that means. Whose voice are you hearing when you are criticizing yourself? Whose voice is it that you actually hear in your head? Once I have these conversations with my clients, usually we end up in a space where it's like, oh yeah. So every time I judge myself, I'm hearing like my mom. I'm hearing her voice. I'm hearing her say the things that she said to me when I was a kid. Thank you. Hi, welcome everybody. Right. So I'm hearing my mom's voice from when I was a kid. I'm hearing my stupid aunties. Every time I go back home, they talk to me like this. And so I hear that. That's my judgmental voice. That's my critical voice. And I feel like I hear that a lot. And it's sad and it sucks. And like, is that you? I'm getting hearts over here on TikTok. Yeah. So like that's something that's common for you. You feel like you hear that, you understand that resonates with you. And I feel like that's a lot. Like a lot of that is major, a lot of that is prominent, and that it does come out a lot. But what I'm realizing also is that it doesn't stop there. A lot of the negativity that I acknowledge and that I hear, like I literally was just on a call where we were talking about this, that it's like I'm hearing negativity from people in my peer group. I'm hearing negativity and like soul sucking, draining negativity. Hi, from people in my peer group. Why would I do that to myself? Why are you the same age as me hating on yourself, talking about how fat you are, how ugly you are, how terrible you are, how much you don't do this, you ain't gonna get no good man, you ain't gonna do this. I'm so sorry that you feel like life is that, but you gotta get yourself up out of that. You gotta, you can't keep living like this. You can't keep functioning like this. If that's the voice that you hear in your head, if that's the way that you speak to yourself, nothing good is gonna come from that. And like, if you look into like the power of manifestation, right, the power of like talking stuff into existence, if you believe in that stuff at all, then why are you allowing yourself or the people around you to talk like this? How? Why and how? Because all you're doing is setting yourself up for failure. You're setting yourself up for maintaining the space where things are negative, the space where you're not going to make any growth, you're not going to get anywhere. Why would you be successful? And I hear this all the time. And the reason, a big part of the reason I wanted to bring this forward today is because like the inner critic, again, has been the theme for February, right? So I love having you guys here. I love having these conversations. The concept of you being critical to yourself is we're so hard on ourselves sometimes. And it's weird, like we're hard on ourselves when it's like, oh, these jeans don't fit the way they used to, but we're not hard on ourselves in the morning when we should get up and go, even though we know we should get up and go, right? And we're hard on ourselves when we don't do well at the yoga class because it's hard, because I'm so sweaty, because my breath is heavy. We're hard on ourselves then, but we're not hard on ourselves when we decide that we're going to go out to eat 5 times this week. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't add up. We can't like take the downfalls and then make them so primary, so paramount, and then ignore the parts that go with it. And I realize this is also a problem that people have with dealing with me, right? If I'm your friend and I'm pushing you to this space where I'm like, yeah, so you can't do this. This doesn't make any sense. People generally want friends that are just going to let them do whatever it was they were doing anyway. So sorry if I can't be a good friend to you. But I feel like on the other side of that, as a coach, as a teacher, I know I can do a damn good job. We can figure it out. The excuses that you want to make, if you want to make them to somebody else. But don't come here, talk to me or talk to anybody. Honestly, don't be the person bringing other people down. If you are in spaces and you're like, well, I ain't never going to work anyway, for you, nobody's ever going to want you anyway. That's you. This is never going to work anyway. Maybe that's you, but it's not me. and it's not going to be me, and I'm not going to claim that. I'm not going to accept it. I'm not going to keep it going. I'm not going to tell people that that's okay. I am never going to stand on that platform. That's never going to happen. I stand here and I do this because I want to talk about the ways that yoga can uplift you. Yoga can change your life. Yoga does inspire you. Yoga does strengthen you. Right? I never talk about weight loss because that's never what I'm here to do, what I'm considering, what I'm focused on at all. But I do know that the more you treat yourself well, the more you are good to yourself, the more you pay attention to what your body needs, your brain needs, your feelings need, things like that, the better you are to yourself, the better you will look, the better you will feel, the more balanced your emotions will be, the more you'll be able to function properly. Like, I feel like part of a problem with my whole last relationship was that if I said I am I'm hungry, this is the time, like, where I expect to have something as a meal, and you make me wait for hours after that, now I'm hangry. The way that you're dealing with me is always hangry because you put me in these situations, but also my boundaries, I didn't put it up. I didn't hold on to that. I didn't say, okay, I need to make sure I eat by this time. So now I'm messed up, my emotions, my things, I'm triggered, I'm frustrated, I'm in a space. Now nothing makes sense. Everything I say is negative. Everything you say makes me want to fight you. All these things are bad. And now I'm thinking that something is wrong with me, that this isn't going to work. I can't think through a process. I can't do this. I can't do that because I'm not taken care of well. And I allowed that to happen. And I don't want that. Are we doing yoga right now? No, we are not doing yoga. I never do that on Thursdays. I always do Thick Thigh Thursdays. Thick Thigh Thursdays, we have these conversations about confidence and about the ways that your life can change via yoga, what life lessons we can take from it. And I love being here and having these conversations with you. So feel free to ask your yoga and life related questions. And thank you for being here. If you're looking for a yoga class, one, you can definitely go to my YouTube channel. That's always there. But I have class on Saturday at 10 a.m. If you'd like to sign up, I would love to see you. And if that schedule doesn't work for you, you can always join the Thighbrary. That will give you a space to practice on your own schedule with me, hearing my voice, giving the same very relatable practices that I give on my YouTube channel and in my tutorials. So if you're looking for that, make sure you join, check it out. ThickThighYoga.com. You will see me. It is me. So yes, no problem. And in the Thighbrary, do we practice other mindfulness activities? So in the Thighbrary, I have journal prompts. I have journal prompts for the month. I also have, and then if you're in the Thighbrary, you can see the archives of previous months as well if you're looking for more inspiration. And actually, that brings me, I'll drop this point in here. I'll bring it back at the end, I'm sure. But obviously, the month is about to change. March 1st is tomorrow. Now, to give myself the time, the newsletter comes out the first Monday of the month, just for the record. So if you still have time to join the list to make sure you get the newsletter on March 4th when it comes out. 4th, this isn't it? Yes. March 4th, on Monday, when it comes out. You still have time to join the mailing list right now. Just go to ThickThighYoga.com, fill your email in the pop-up, okay? But like I said, the newsletter, it's linked right at the top of the website. You can see the journal prompts that are in there, the gifts that are in there, the things that I always have as an offer. I'm always offering a lot, but I try not to offer too much. Why? Boundaries. And setting boundaries is the theme of March and the next month. I felt like, so also my birthday's in 2 weeks. So be prepared, put it on your calendar. Feel free to send me a gift. So to celebrate for March, for Pisces season, I wanted to talk about boundaries. Why? Because we don't do that. Especially we don't do it very well. I love you and I care so much and I just want to be with you and I'm going to cry and I'm this. As much as I love all that about myself, we need boundaries. Right? So boundaries is actually the theme of the March newsletter. So if you needed a little assistance in that, make sure that you're on the mailing list so you get the newsletter, you get to see the new journal prompts, you get to see a little blurb about it, a little example. And then as always, it links you back to these discussions, right? If you're ever looking for more as far as what we talk about and you want to learn more, make sure you go into my YouTube channel. These are recorded for your playbacks for you to see. I got to get better about posting clips of it. I know, and I will, me and the universe having a conversation. I will. Um, you are the best. When I get past this health crisis and coming back, your process is so great. Thank you so much. I can't wait to have you back. And that is what it is, like we go through cycles of when we can practice and when what works for our bodies. And that's the thing. Are you making excuses or are you listening to your body? Be real about that. And boundaries are necessary. You got to, sis, right? So as we come to this space where we're figuring out who our inner critic is, I want you to really think about whose voice do you hear when you are being judgmental? Who is that person? Why is that person's voice so loud? And is there a person, and you may be the person, right? But is there a person that you should listen to, could listen to, that would make you feel better about the way things are operating in your life, right? So I feel like sometimes we choose, when people are too soft on themselves, they choose somebody who they know is always going to tell them yes, right? So if my inner critic is like, oh no, you could never do any wrong. So now I'm ready to break all the laws. I'm ready to not take care of myself. And it's fine because I could never do any wrong, according to the voice in my head. Skewed, right? I feel like a lot of us, especially y'all on my page, my followers, even though I love you, don't take this as an insult. I feel like a lot of us are overcritical, right? Yeah. Is that right? Hearts? I'm seeing we're overcritical, right? And so when we're overcritical of ourselves, that stops us. This is what causes or fosters, I should say, the imposter syndrome. This is what fosters our fears. This is what stops us from growing. This is what causes us to feel like I can't, right? I can't do this. I don't know what's next. I don't know how to do this. I have no idea how to, even if I start, I'm going to fail. All of these things, we get so judgmental and so critical and so hard on ourselves. And it's like, but whose voice is this? Why do I need to hear this? Who is saying this to me? And so a lot of times we do have to acknowledge it's only me. It is only me saying this to me. I am the only one saying this to myself. I am the only one stopping me. And that's scary because then you have to do that stuff, right? After that, you're like, oh, wait, but if I'm the only one stopping me, does that mean that I can also start me? You can. But I will also say this, are you in a good place and are you happy? Because I feel like we do live in this space now where it's like we talk about growth and we talk about growing and changing and moving and doing this and being better and stronger and all this other stuff all the time. And it's like, okay, but you have to give yourself credit for what you've done because that's a real thing. And in that space of you saying like, okay, well, this is what I've done. I know I've made growth because I don't live like this anymore. I don't feel like this. I don't talk to myself like this, but I still have space to grow. And honestly, if you ask anybody, ask any healer, right? Anybody that continues to go through the work and stuff, you don't stop healing. You just get more healed as you go. You keep going. You keep becoming more and more healed. And then you keep identifying places where you were hurt, where you were like, and it's like, oh, damn, like I was living like this. You were. I'm so sorry. I don't know what else to say. And it's me too, right? We're just going through this. We are going through these spaces and saying, okay, I have to figure out where it is that I can actually grow and do better and feel better. But once I'm there, once I have grown, once I have a space to hold on to, that's a good place for me to be. What can I do to keep this? So there's a lot of things that like people are willing to do one time, right? I'm just try this out. Okay, just try it. That doesn't mean you want to do it. But then after that, it's like, if it's hard work, you might still have to stick with it. And you might get it and still have to stick with it at that point. That's dedication. That's consistency. That's a lot of growth. Part of that is setting boundaries, not for other people, but for yourself. I know, again, I put it in your hands. Annoying. I know, I'm the worst. Anyway, yeah, it's in your hands. It is in your hands. You have the capability to grow. You have the opportunity to say to yourself, yes, I'm going to change this at all times. At any time. That same motivation that you have when you haven't slept enough and it's 2 o'clock in the morning, you feel like rearranging your room, that could apply to your whole life. And be real. It doesn't have to be, again, if you're happy. And I want you to think about that, right? Are you happy with the way your life is set up right now? Do you feel like things are happening the way they should be? Do you feel like you're on the right path? Do you feel like your long term, especially, is really looking good in the distance? It doesn't have to be today. Today is rough. Today might be rough. This week might be rough. This month might be rough. Whatever. Are you prepared for the are you preparing, I should say, for the good times? Are you laying this rough foundation for you to have a solid place to stand when things are awesome? Because you have the possibility to get there. You have the ability, you have the option, the chance, the direction. You can do that. But hey, but the question is, right? Do you tell yourself that? Do you tell yourself that? Do you say that to yourself? Do you talk to yourself this way, or do you talk to yourself in a way that's annoying, that's negative, that's demeaning, that is destructive? Because the only thing you're going to do is do more of that, feel more of that. Whatever you're telling yourself, whatever you're saying to yourself, however you're pouring in, whatever that is that you're building a whole bucket of, you got to sit in that bucket, right? So what's in it? No need to apologize. I appreciate you being here. And yes, please make sure y'all share the live, share a post that you like, share anything. If you're not sure how to support Saisha, but you think that what I'm saying needs to be spread, share it. Share a post. Tag me in your story. Do something to get the word out, because that's the best thing that you could do, right? These social media platforms, it seems like they prioritize messages that are being sent and shared and whatnot. So I would appreciate you sharing any of my messages that you believe are worthy of people to see. Okay. If you think somebody could benefit from that message, then please share it. I put it out there so they could too. Right. Even if you feel like it's not a message for you, but it's a good one, share it. Right. Stories are temporary. I'm not asking you to dedicate your life to me. Okay. But I appreciate it and it does help. So thank you so much. Hi. Um, so in this inner critic situation, right? I feel like the biggest thing that we can do is figure out how to set boundaries. And that's part of the reason why I led from the inner critic to boundaries being the next theme of the month, right? We have to set boundaries with that inner voice. We have to acknowledge when, just like boundaries with anybody else, we have to acknowledge when we are not doing things that we like. What am I doing that is making me sad? What am I saying to myself that is making me sad? What is this person saying to me that is making me hurt my feelings, hurt my emotions, or doesn't make me feel good about what I'm hearing and what I'm doing in the situations that I'm in? If you are around people that make you feel bad, you should do whatever you can to leave all the time, right? And I think a big part of this is that we have these broken familial relationships, right? So if you feel like, well, my mom is always really mean to me, but she loves me because she's my mom and she's supposed to love me. I'm sorry that you have been taught that that's how this works, but it doesn't. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. Your parent can be strict with you, and that still can be like and express love, right? Like that's a real thing at any age, but that doesn't mean that the way they treat you is the way you should be loved. Figure out what that feels like for you, right? So if you realize, yeah, every time I'm in a conversation with my dad, I end up upset and crying and whatever, not speaking from personal experience or anything like that, but every time I end up in this situation, my emotions are all torn up. I should stop. I should stop having those conversations. And I should stop at the very least giving them that value, that weight, because if I didn't care, it wouldn't upset me, right? That's just true. So accept Accept that you are hurt. Accept that this bothers you. Accept that that's a problem. That doesn't make you weak. That makes you clear on your boundaries. So you can be clear on that boundary and say, oh, so if I do this, if I allow myself to be here, if I accept this, if I pick up the phone when this person's name is on the screen, I'm going to end up with my feelings hurt. I'm going to end up angry. I'm going to end up disappointed. I am going to have a low quality experience for whatever reason. I'm not picking up that phone. Maybe it's just me. I'm not picking up the phone. I'm not doing it. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to you. You lower the quality of my life. Now, think about that, which again, we're going to talk through the month about how to set boundaries and those conversations and things like that. Don't worry. So if you're like, okay, Saisha, but how? Make sure your notifications are on because we're going to be talking about it. Make sure you join the newsletter so you can get the journal prompts on it. Make sure you're flowing with me on the mat so you can process your emotions on it, right? But you need to set those boundaries. Your boundaries are not for other people. They are for you. And so the boundaries you need to set on your inner voice are also for you, right? If you know your inner voice is freaking out and it's just like, and you look so bad and this, that, and the other, and you can't go here. You can't even leave the house. You can't do that. If you've got those things going, you need to shut that bitch up. That's it. Smack her something, call her something, give her a name and tell her to shut up because that's just what it is. Right? This is not a situation that you need to pour into. It's not a situation your energy deserves. You don't want this. You don't want to be in that space. If you did want to be in that space, it wouldn't upset you. That's the thing. The motivation that some people hear, and that's a real lesson, right? And that's a real space for you to identify for yourself. Do I feel like this is motivating or do I feel like it's hurtful, right? Because flames are motivating, right? It's hot up in here. I need to move. I need to run from the fire. But if you're just going to sit in the pot and boil, the flames are more of a problem, right? Instead of being motivated to move, you said, oh, well, I'm just going to sit here and die. I'm going to get fried, whatever it is. That's not how this works, at least not healthfully, right? And not if you're actually on this health journey, on this growth journey, on your yoga journey. That's not how this works. And I want to make sure that this is clear. I'm not talking about on a timeline. So I don't want anybody ever to feel like, oh, it's been this long and I haven't done this. It doesn't matter how long it was. It matters whether something is happening, right? And so that's another thing about like that I work with coaching people and as a part of like being in the library, you can update yourself on your practice and what you're feeling and like reflect. That's a part of the prompts and the paperwork, the tracker, all that stuff that's in there. And it's like, you have that space to reflect for you. How did this feel before? How does it feel now? How did you grow? Do you feel stronger? Do you feel smarter? Do you feel more, just more pliable? Like, I feel like if I fell down, I wouldn't hurt myself. Great. Thank you so much for the gifts. I appreciate them so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. I have goals. I would love for you to participate and add your gifts there. Thank you so much. Eugenia, I think. Thank you, Eugenia. And if I said that wrong, I apologize. I swear. Blame it on my heart. Blame it on my head, not my heart. But so the concept here, right, that you are that you are required to do things that actually make you feel good, right? And so I want you to think about like ice cream. Maybe ice cream's not your thing, whatever your dessert thing is or your treat thing is, right? I want you to think about that. And really, if you thought about one or two major things, great. That's exactly what I'm talking about, right? That treat that you give yourself, maybe it's just dessert because, I eat dessert. I feel like this fits into my diet, my well-balanced diet, however I function. Awesome. Have your dessert. Enjoy it. If you know you haven't been balanced, you haven't treated your body well, you haven't moved in a month, that dessert every day is still going to add up, right? it's not going to be good for your body anymore, even though it was a good treat for you before, right? So when you were living the way you were living before, something was appropriate. Things need to shift now. You need to make the change. Your treat needs to feel different. It doesn't mean that it can't be the same treat, but are you thinking about the frequency? Are you thinking about the ways that it actually impacts you? Maybe you used to not be lactose intolerant and now you are. That's a huge thing. Okay, that treat is nowhere near as good anymore. It is messing you up. You should find a different treat, but something that makes you feel as good, right? And that's why, like, somebody asked before about like the concept of like, do you do other practices beyond just yoga, the physical yoga practice? And that's part of the reason why I did put my journal prompts in the Thighberry, is that, yeah, there's more. Once you get into this, you're probably going to want more. Once you get into this, you're probably going to want to reflect. Once you get into this, there's so much more to be offered. And honestly, to get from the right person. Maybe I'm not the right person. I always accept that. I always accept that maybe I'm not the right person. I want you to find the right teacher for you. If that's me, I'm ecstatic. If not, but you find the right person for you, still ecstatic. That's it. That's just how that works. Find what works for you. And sometimes that's about teaching. Sometimes that's about style. Sometimes that's about ability. There's all types of stuff, right? So what do you suggest for a beginner? I always suggest starting with a private teacher as far as yoga is concerned. And if you are looking for one-on-one, look in your area. If you're looking for online, find an online teacher that you like that'll do a live Zoom session with you. I do live Zoom sessions all the time where we talk about what's right for your body and give you modifications for your body. No random online video is going to do that. I do in my YouTube videos and things like that, I always offer modifications, I always offer options. But if the options don't seem right to you, or you're still really confused and you're like, okay, but what's the beginner way? The beginner way is to get a one-on-one session. So that's what I suggest. Hope that helps. And that's part of the reason why all of this, everything I always talk about, is that like, this is part of the reason why yoga is included in my coaching, right? When we do our coaching sessions and we have our yoga classes and our private sessions, and you attend class and you get to move your body. When you move your body, you move your mind, you move your thoughts, you change the way you see things, the way things feel, all of that for yourself, which is why I added the journal prompts, like I said, to add that layer of the layer of practice, the layer of reflection, because that's the purpose, right? The physical asanas of yoga were created so that we could move the body and create a space where that's out. And now I can find stillness in the mind and I can actually process how I'm feeling, right? And that is such an amazing purpose. This is why the physical asana of yoga is so important. If I'm not like, and that's why I also always flow with my journal next to my mat, because from there I'm like, as soon as I think of it, I can stop, I can write it down, I can jot it down, because the thoughts just go. It's the same thing as if you take your hot girl walk or whatever it is, and then your thoughts are flowing and you feel right, nice in the flow. It's the same thing, but find the way that's right for you. Maybe yoga's not right for you. Maybe I'm not right for you. All of that is fine. Find the thing that works for you, your body, your mind. There's a space there for you and you should claim it. The problem that I feel like we see a lot, again, is I'm stopping myself. I'm afraid. I think I'm not going to do well at it. I think I am too big for it. I think I'm this. I think I'm that. I don't see representation of this. Or everybody tells me this. And this is, again, that everybody tells you, whose voice are you hearing inside your head? I want you to take a space, and maybe it's a matter of like coming to a journal prompt yourself to say, whose voice am I hearing when I speak to myself? Is it a good voice? Do I want to change it? Right? Do I want to change that perspective? Do I want to live in a different space in my head, because that's going to be better for me? And you are allowed to take that space. I think it's a great space for you to try and take as well. With that being said, again, tomorrow is March 1st. The March newsletter will be out on Monday. It's always the first Monday of the month. Make sure that you have joined the mailing list so you get the newsletter, you get the journal prompts. You can check out the archive of them on my website. I am Thick Thigh Yoga. It is thickthighyoga.com. I am Thick Thigh Yoga absolutely everywhere. If you want to come to class on Saturday, I would love to see you there. Come to my website, again, thickthighyoga.com. It's up here. Sign up for class. I would love to see you there. And if you have questions, feel free to DM me. If you're looking to join, you can always join the Thybrary. There's a video explaining it if you have more questions. And then if you still have more questions, ask me, message me, email me. We'll figure it out. Okay. I love you all greatly. Thank you so much for being here. Be on the lookout for the newsletter next week. And if you have any questions, please message me and ask. We'll talk soon.